Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Outwatch, a Survivor Rewatch podcast. My name's Alex, and we are on episode 7 of Survivor Pearl Islands in the middle of our rewatch of this iconic Survivor season. It's a big one titled What the? Part 1. Big twists happen, and we here on Outwatch are going to take the episode apart bit by bit and explore some of the big moments and exciting things that happened. I'm joined here with my Outwatch fellow participants.
Boys.
And girl.
Thank you.
Boom.
And we are going to have a great time talking about Survivor today. Adam, welcome to Outwatch.
Always glad to be here.
What's your preferred method of cooking a coconut?
So I like to use a little bit of coconut oil. I think that really just complements coconut well. You get the pan nice and hot, and then you just give it a nice sear in and out. You know, nothing too fancy.
Like a tuna.
Yes.
Emily, welcome to Outwatch.
Thank you. Glad to be here as well.
How would you cook a coconut?
I think raw is best. Just nibble on it, but don't cut it. Just nibble on the outside. That's the best part. Chef's secret.
Hot take. Scott, is there any method of coconut preparation that you would fight a man over?
At least 3. No, I can't think of any. I can't think of too many ways to prepare a coconut. So.
There's more than one way to prep a coconut.
That's what they say.
I just don't think there is, though.
The great-grandpappy Baker, he told me that story once.
What a legend.
What a legend.
We asked this, of course, because one of the great moments, or actually, it's far from great, of this episode happens in a near physical confrontation between Sean and John over the method of cooking a coconut. So we want to get that out of the way. Don't want to cause any potential confrontations here on Outwatch. That's not good. So let's start by bit breaking down what happened this episode. We start rejoining the Drake tribe. Rupert got some votes, and he is fighting mad. he is spitting angry.
Yeah. Spit it out.
Screaming at John. In fact, he's so angry that he looks at John and he says, "You me," many, many times. I was actually scared.
Rupert is such a wholesome character up until like this moment.
Yeah,
when he swears at John.
I can't believe I voted for him for libertarian.
Do you think this was used in any like smear campaigns against him?
It totally was. How
it was. How awesome would that have been?
Rupert beat Indiana. Just like John Tim. Vote for Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the Morgan tribe, it's rainy and they're running out of food. Things look dire. Sean and John then, of course, have their altercation regarding coconuts. And then we have the big twist of this season, the Outcasts twist, where in a surprise, all of the people voted out, all 6 voted up to this point, come back on a new tribe and compete in a challenge against Drake and Morgan. And if they beat them, they can vote as many people as tribes they beat back into the game. And the tribes that they beat will have to vote out people from their tribe. So they do this challenge. It's this breakout from jail sort of simulation. And the Outcasts win. So
yeah, they do.
This is actually the first ever 3-tribe challenge, too. Interesting Survivor note. But the Outcasts win. 2 of them are coming back into the game. And so Drake and Morgan have to go to tribal council to vote out one of their own. First, Sean is voted out on Drake. It's a little bit between he and John, but ultimately they all kind of throw their votes on Sean. Sean's voted out. And then on the Morgan tribe, Austin decides he's going to quit. He tells everyone to vote for him. Jeff gets really pissy about the whole thing, and they don't even cast the votes.
He did get pissy.
He gets very pissy.
He got real pissy about that.
And Austin lays down his torch, doesn't even get a "your tribe has spoken," but he just says, "Go home." Jeff hates people quitting.
Yeah.
And so the episode ends there with a big "to be continued." The Outcast Tribal is next time. And so in the next episode, we'll see who from the Outcast tribe gets voted back into the game. But at the end of this one, we lose two survivors. Austin and Sean are the next ones to go. And looking at our tribe sheets here, that's a loss for Emily with Austin. And Scott loses a member of his tribe in Sean.
Another one bites the dust.
Yes. Great. A pretty rip-roaring episode here. Big twist. The big thing is that, like, big Outcast twist. What were your guys' opinions on that twist?
I had a lot of questions.
Okay.
Because I was like, so where have they been staying? Did they just, they walked out of there and they're like, psych, you got to live on another part of the island. You're not leaving. I don't know. To make
Great
it fair?
question. They were probably on, like, Ponderosa, which is the quasi-resort that everybody who gets voted out stays at.
Oh, I thought you meant Ponderosa Steakhouse.
Yeah, they just bumped
fitting
into
punishment.
Ponderosa Steakhouse.
I'm not sure which I'd rather be at, you know?
I mean, I don't know. Jeff, in continuing this line of thought, Jeff thought, or he said at one point that they've been living on like smaller rations or something like that, like fruit and rice or something like that.
He said like beans and protein or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. And every single person on the Outcast team looked better than the Drake tribe, which is the stronger tribe at this point. So, like, of course they're going to look better than Morgan, but, like, they looked really good. Just, period.
I'm calling BS on all that. There's no way that in this scenario that the Outcast tribe doesn't win, because they have been certainly sleeping way better.
Right.
Yeah.
That was my
And-
point, too.
Yeah, certainly eating way better, too. Even if they are just like, all right, you get some rice and some fruit and some fish for every meal until this twist happens. That's still better than what the other tribe's going to get.
Yeah.
And they don't have the emotional stress of tribe stuff.
Plus,
they're certainly sleeping way better. There's no way that they lose this
They
challenge.
don't have
They're
to
not doing
survive.
challenges.
Plus-
They don't have to survive.
plus there's an extra person. There are 6 people on the Outcast team as opposed to 5. And this challenge involved a lot of digging and tying things together, which, like, that extra person is going to help you do. I don't know. This seemed rigged. Throwing it out there.
Don't
Survivors
use the R word
at
talking about
CBS.
Survivor. dude.
Survivors rigged. Come at me, CBS.
You know what I think, Adam?
What?
I think you've been...
Talk about getting some honey, smoking something, drinking something.
It's not rigged.
You can tell me it's not rigged when CBS stops putting commercials on things that you've already paid for.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. So it may not have been rigged, but I mean, it was definitely... The Outcast had a serious advantage there, it seemed.
Totally.
Completely. It was like LeBron James in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Well, salt in the wound.
That was-
Salt in the wound.
I'm not over it yet.
There are fewer, greater metaphors. Similar.
It is, though, because playing against LeBron James in the playoffs feels like you can do everything right and play as best as you can and play better, but the system is such that you cannot win.
Exactly.
It's like the Hunger Games or something. Like you're just
Hold
you're
on.
designed to fail.
Hold on, play the Rupert thing again. Hey, NBA. You exactly.
So, what's your thoughts on just like the idea of this twist of letting players who were voted out previously have a chance of getting back into the game?
Is this the first time Survivor did this?
I believe so.
I was gonna say they definitely do it like every season. It seems like now. So this is like history in the making.
Man, what they do sometimes is like Redemption Island thing. But I can't. This is the only time I can remember like an objective. You're voted out. Your torch has been snuffed. You're out, and then just randomly you're back.
Well, wasn't there a? I guess it wasn't random. It was a part of the game where you could like you had to compete to get back in.
Yeah. So that's Redemption Island, and that's
Okay.
a part of the game in a number of seasons, like Scott was saying, where after you're voted out, you go to Redemption Island, and then when the next person's voted out, the two of you have a duel. Whoever wins stays on Redemption Island until a certain point in the game when whoever is on Redemption Island at that point re-enters the game.
Gotcha. So, yeah, this seemed like this was a really cool twist in my mind. Like, I felt like it was thematically very appropriate. Like with the whole pirate thing. And, I don't know, like it's a pretty, we've talked about this a lot, how boring the season is for the first like 4 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game just sort of starts coming more and more alive. And this was like,
That's when it hits the fan.
This felt like the most active episode yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the first few episodes, it was really kind of boring watching it and then having to talk about it on these podcasts. But literally since like the second time we recorded, subscribe. I am very intrigued to watch the season though. It's really growing on me. They've really upped the ante a lot. Obviously, you know, with the current twists and everything. But you know, it's been really entertaining.
My thing with it was I don't necessarily mind the idea of people voted out coming back. It's just like what we talked about earlier, where it's like, all right, they're gone. Oh, now they're back. Who knows what they've been up to the last 12 days, you know?
Yeah.
It just opens the door for so much like speculation and for them to gain an unfair advantage. Whereas while Redemption Island is not my favorite Survivor element, in fact, I just don't like it pretty much generally, you at least know they're on this island. They're dealing with the same sort of conditions and food shortages that you are. They're not necessarily gaining a leg up in that regard. So this way, where they're just kind of out of the magic circle of the game for a little bit is kind of annoying to me.
They also lose serious points in the social aspect of this game,
that's
though.
true.
That's a good
They
point.
do.
Like I just can't imagine anyone comes back into this game and like re-enters their tribe and they're just like welcomed with open arms and they're like, oh yeah, we're really glad that you're back in this. Like I can't, like, especially anyone from Morgan. Like I can't imagine anyone from Morgan coming back into that game, like Skinny Ryan or Lil.
Yeah.
And who else am I missing?
Was Nicole?
Nicole.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah. Nicole was.
I can't imagine any of them coming back into this game to Morgan, who has like fought tooth and nail to get back to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And them just being like, oh yeah, it's great that you're back.
Yeah, you got a lot of confessionals from Savage leading up to this where it's like, I don't want any of those misfits getting a handhold in this tribe. They don't deserve being here at all. Those misfit good for nothing. It's like, chill out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely get the sense from them that, yeah, they wouldn't be welcoming of whoever was to come back. Speaking of name-calling and finger-pointing, there was a lot of that this episode between Rupert and John and Sean and John. I wrote the note down after the John and Sean, like, so close to physical violence confrontations. Like, I hate this. This sucks. Like, I'm so glad that this is not really a part of Survivor anymore. The just, like, straight-up aggression. It was like, yeah, so close to real physical violence. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Scott.
I was gonna say, yeah, just it was all over like a coconut. Which I guess it could just like play into like what their mental state is at this moment in time. They're kind of hungry. They haven't bathed. They're on an island. things are gonna like escalate. But yeah, I'm like, man, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I think that was a clear indication that something needed to be shaken up, because I think they're just going crazy at this point. They're going to fight over stupid things like coconuts. Because the whole time it was happening, I was like, oh my gosh, just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was mean.
And you get, like, you don't really get that on the Morgan tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even before they were down to their 5 people now, you didn't get that sort of violence or that sort of yelling at each other. Like, they would get annoyed. They would get, like, really indecisive about things, and they'd sort of argue about, like, the best way to do stuff or whatever. But, like, I don't know. It's almost like Drake has so much excess that it just kind of this is what they've come to, that like they don't have to fight to survive, so they're fighting with each other.
I was gonna say, it's like, to be fair, Morgan doesn't have a coconut to fight over.
Yeah, exactly. So they fight over how to cook it, you know?
Yeah, we get to the challenge, the 3-tribe challenge, first ever 3-tribe challenge in Survivor. I thought their silly purple cloths, that they couldn't splurge on buffs for
right.
6 people.
Die jerks.
Yeah. I feel like that would be Skinny Ryan in the Die Jerks bandana would be a really memeable moment in 2018.
It would so be a memeable moment.
It's like me when my FAFSA gets in the mail. Picture of Skinny Ryan with Die Jerks on his head.
I feel like with this political landscape, it could be used in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back. Let's make it happen. Let's go viral and then tag Outwatch at it.
Yeah, one of you loyal Outwatch listeners out there, make a meme of Skinny Ryan and the Die Jerks.
Our one loyal Outwatch listener.
And add us. So after the challenge happened, what did you think was going to happen regarding the vote outs, the Drake and Morgan going to tribal? Who did you expect might be in danger from either tribe?
Because Adam and I watched this together, and I think even before Morgan,
Just assume that we watch them all together.
Yeah, it happens. What was I saying? Oh, even before Morgan went to tribal council, Austin, we had both commented that he looks really thin and like he just looked like he was gonna quit, and sure enough, he just gave up.
Mm-hmm.
That was I think I kind of saw that coming.
And
Yeah,
he looked really thin.
Yeah, he did.
Like at that point, like I mean, he still looked cut, but like, I mean, he commented at one point like how much he weighed when he got there, like 215 pounds, something like that. It's like there's no way. Like he has to have lost like 30, 40 pounds. Like
he was very much stage ready if he was trying to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Stage ready.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really anticlimactic because he's just like, guys, vote me out, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one I kind of saw coming. And on the other tribe, it was pretty, Rupert and the 2 girls seemed pretty tight. It was either a Sean or a John thing for me watching it.
I don't understand why they didn't vote John out. Like part of his reasoning when they were like, choose, or like you have 2 minutes to tell us why you should stay. Like one thing that John said is like, I've proven myself to be loyal. You literally tried to vote out Rupert last time. Like you've proven yourself to not be trustworthy. And you went to Sean and you were like, this is the case, man. It's either you or him. Will you be with us now? And he agreed. I mean, obviously he's going to choose that to save himself, but I don't know. I just like, yeah.
You think going Sean there instead of John was a bad move?
I think it's a bad move. I mean, you have to assume that, I don't know, looking at the outcasts, my guess of who was going to, like, I was sure that Burton was going to come back. I am sure that Burton's going to come back. And so you have that sort of to deal with, like, you know, an ally of Sean might come back, but like you have the numbers still. And it can't be that much longer till a merger. Like a merger has to be coming. So I don't know. Like I think if someone's gonna flip, it's gonna be John, because he realizes that he's not gonna win against Rupert.
Listen, if Austin and John went out at the same episode, I would have had to quit this podcast.
So we're lucky that they did.
Yeah,
Right.
for your sake, and the
sa-
sake of our podcast, I'm glad that's not what
For
happened.
the sake of diversity on our podcast.
Right. You really could be the boys.
Emily, even if your whole team was eliminated, we would still want you on the show.
Why, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation because you get the feeling that, I don't know, like John is more weaselly and strategic for sure, but it almost seems like Sean is more disgruntled and like would maybe be more willing to like flip over. And John, even though he's like weaselly and kind of a jerk, he is a jerk, but like with the Drake folks, you know?
Yeah.
That is true.
So it is an interesting kind of question.
I think I just hate John. So
You've made that very clear over the course of this podcast.
Yeah.
You're blinded by your hatred of John.
yeah, this is why I wouldn't be good on Survivor.
I think Sean would definitely be the more physical player
Yeah.
if you wanted to go that route. But obviously,
Yeah, and that makes sense too. I guess if you think a merge is coming, you want to get rid of someone who has a real shot at winning individual immunity.
Right.
Yeah, and it would be really hard for me to picture John winning any kind of physical challenge, just at his stature, especially over just other competitors in the field.
Yeah.
But
I believe early in the episode, Rupert called him Johnny Pain in the Ass.
Yeah.
Johnny Fairplay. More like Johnny Pain in the Ass. In the tribal going... the Drake tribal, I wrote this note after more, like, aggression, and when it wasn't aggression, like, no one had anything interesting or vulnerable or dynamic to say. They just kind of gave, like, a coach press conference, answers. Mm-hmm. I was like, is this how everything was in 2003? Like, or is it just, like, people not really casting well or knowing how to get it out of people yet, where it's like everything is either aggressive or like deadpan or overtly sexual,
I think that's just post 9/11 America,
Oh,
God. No.
maybe we can attribute a lot of it to Jeff just not being as, masterful at his craft yet.
I think that is a lot of it.
I think part of it too is like people aren't thinking as strategically as they will. Mm-hmm. And so Survivor in this stage is it's almost more of a like actual survival game than a social game. Like the social game is important, but it's not everything.
Yeah, it's like the only people giving interesting confessionals or like tribal council remarks are Rupert, Sandra, John. That's about it.
Yeah.
I think they just don't know how to cast yet.
Well, and
or maybe
and
this is just indicative of early reality TV casting, just like objectively beautiful people.
And every single one of Andrew's confessionals are just him like talking himself up.
Yeah, that's so true.
We can do it. We got this. Like we can. Yes, anytime Andrew is talking to the camera, that's what he's saying.
That's absolutely true.
He's really been like the narrator for at least the Morgan side of the story this far though. Like anytime something's happening, we're hearing it from Andrew almost every time.
Well, I mean, who else would you hear from? You got Dara, You got Austin. You got Rhino, who doesn't say anything. Tawana.
Yeah, it's nuts how much, like, such a high percentage of the screen time Savage is getting on the Morgan tribe.
Because, I don't remember the last time I actually saw a confessional from Tawana or Rhino.
Yeah.
You forget
Rhino
the
especially.
game.
Rhino is grossly underrepresented, I would say. I have to make mention of Johnny Fairplay's voting booth confessional here, too. When he... this is the first one of the 2 episodes, so he just walks up, writes Sean's name down, shows it to the camera, goes, "Fuck you," and drops this thing. And
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was so funny. I forgot about that.
He
pretty
sucks
good.
so much. He sucks so much.
We've got, in the next episode, we'll find 2 back-to-back killer voting booth confessionals out of Johnny Fairplay. But yeah, just the disregarding, uncaring FU confessional was so good.
It was just like, I don't know. It was perfect for what had happened earlier in the episode with everybody. Like, it was, yeah. I'll give him that.
The release of all this aggression.
He also, like, he has no idea if he's going to stay or not. So this is a moment where he's just like, I don't care. Like, this is how I feel.
So Sean gets voted out. Anything else to mention about that? I feel like we covered that pretty well.
That just sucks that he's the first one in this season who's actually out. You know, everyone else was kind of out.
So really, he's the first loser.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Sucks
Poor
to
Sean.
suck.
Sucks to suck. Sorry, Scott. You lost to Sean.
That's okay. I don't even like Sean. So
Been disbanded by Team Jameis Winston.
Team Jameis Winston.
The Jameis Winston tribe. I just want to remind our listeners that our tribes this season are named after 3 famous pirates.
That we can tell you all about.
Bart, Lancaster, and Jameis Winston, a buccaneer in his own right.
He sailed the ocean publics in search of lobster.
Oh, boy. Want to see what you're playing for? A cooler full of Publix lobster. And all the fixins.
He's going to eat a W today.
Scott, you ate the L this episode, though, unfortunately.
I know, I did.
All right, so Morgan Tribal Council. Austin quits, and it's a really, really good tribal from Jeff because you actually get the emotion out of him. It's pretty much all negative emotion, but yeah, this is still, like we've said, Jeff finding his stride as a host. There's a lot of tribals where he's just kind of like, so, what happened with this? Cool. What happened with this? But like
Maybe
he's
he's
actually
a
digging
robot.
into it.
Maybe
Jeff is not
Maybe
a
he's learning the
robot.
ways of the human.
an alien. I will say,
In a sexual way.
Ah, there it is.
There it is.
I will say, I think part of this from Jeff is, I think he sees Austin like quitting without quitting by telling his teammates to vote for him. And Jeff is sort of like, no, like you're not going to get to quit without quitting. Like you want to leave, you're gone. Like you
Wouldn't
don't
allow him the dignity
Yeah.
of being voted out.
Yeah, you don't get voted out. You quit. Like
Yeah.
you know.
Did you guys know that this is the first time in Survivor history that someone quits?
Oh, I did
Really?
not know that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good enough.
Austin is the first ever quitter.
So he really is the first loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, more so than Sean.
Yeah, there was like the he's like, so you're gonna quit, and he's like, man, you could call it quitting, you could call it hanging up the towel, whatever. Like, Jeff just really wanted him to admit that he was quitting.
Yeah.
And you get it at the end, too. I think, like, what drives even him, like, I think this is a personal thing for him, not even like a production thing. His frustration with people quitting is he's like, there's so many people who want to be on this game so badly and, like, try so hard to be that when someone comes out here and quits, it's, like, unfair to all of them, you know?
I understand the frustration there. You know, there are probably millions of people that want to go on this show, 4 of which are in this podcast. And
let's not go that far.
Hey, I would in a
I
second.
mean, if they asked me, I'm not gonna submit a video.
There's one. Let's be honest. There's one. But yeah, for one person to go on there and like not make the most of that opportunity, it's got to be upsetting to them at that, like, as the producers and the people who run the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also like it's not fun if people quit. Like,
Yep.
like it just sucks. It was stupid. Like, Austin hurt his team and just left the game.
Do you think people were too hard on him, his tribe, and Jeff, or was it warranted?
I feel like did anyone feel like his tribe was as mad as Jeff was? I feel like, I mean, they talked to Tuana a little bit, and she was just kind of like, yeah, I saw this, and he's just finally doing it, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. They were kind of like mean in like a nice way. They're like, yeah, I don't know what he's thinking, but you know, that's his. You know, I can't understand what's going on in his head. You know, I'm not going to put myself there, but he's really kind of a wuss. But you know,
I'm sure part of that stems from them just being like, well, he's going to quit, so now we don't have to figure out who to vote out.
I was just thinking that
Right.
too.
Right.
Because then they're all safe.
Because who's on that
true.
team? It's Andrew, Austin left, Tawana, Dara,
Rhino.
and Rhino. Yeah. So I mean,
Rhino's my guy.
so Tawana and Dara are the 2 people that are probably going to go home if you go to a vote.
Yeah, if you're one of them, I think that you're more than okay with Austin quitting.
Yeah.
Because it's not you, and you're going to a merge here soon, and Austin's like the prototypical merge boot. So it just moves the process along one step further. Unless maybe you're Savage, not to put the cart before the horse here, but taking Austin out of the game may open him up for vulnerability. Maybe if Austin's in the game, there's a big guy there, a bigger, at least physically, guy than Savage that could soak up that target.
I don't feel like we've gotten a chance to really see Andrew play this game.
Yeah.
Because just his team, he hasn't been able to do anything to motivate his team.
Yeah.
He hasn't figured out the survival element of this game, but
He's just always hungry.
I feel like if he were to come back in a later season, we would get a better Andrew Savage.
That is a take that would prove to be true.
What?
Yeah, he comes back in Cambodia, which is season...
Oh my gosh.
It's like The Grudge.
You sound like Tina Belcher.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, season 30. So
Wow.
a long time from now.
Wow,
he
that
comes
is
back,
so
but he does.
far.
Yep.
That's like, what, 12 years? At least.
Yeah, probably.
Dang.
That's crazy.
Yep.
He's in
comes
another
back
decade of life.
Yeah.
in Cambodia.
He's got to be... how old is he in this season? Like, is he in his, 30s, 40s?
He's probably in his 40s.
So when he came back on Cambodia, he was 54.
Yeah, so
Wait,
he
no,
would've been,
sorry.
like-
He's 54 now. My bad. He was born in
54.
63.
So he's like,
Oh.
He's as old as my
40?
parents.
he's like 40 at this time.
So 2003.
Yeah, he's about 40.
He would have been in his 30s.
Would have been 16 years ago, yeah. So if he's 54 now, then he would have been like 38? 38.
That sounds about right.
And now you've heard us do math. on this
We're-
podcast.
Yes.
We're a
The
math
math
podcast.
cast.
The math cast.
Alex gets to decide
not to-
later who got to the joke first.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. not to spoilers here, but Cambodia, the season he returns on, is Survivor's second chance, and it's a fan vote. So it was
he
the
gets
first time they
fan
did
voted
this.
back in.
Yeah, so they were a bunch of people they put up to get voted in to this season, and he got voted in.
I think that's one I watched with you, Gooch.
I can't remember if it was or not.
I feel like it was.
It might have
Or
been.
Maybe not. I forget.
It's around that time frame, so it would make sense.
Well,
I would
I'm
say who
excited
the
to
winner
get to
is,
those.
but I don't want to.
Because Woo was on
Spoiler.
that one. Woo came back.
Huh?
Because I think Woo.
Yeah, Woo came back.
Yeah, I remember.
Frickin' Woo.
Survivor
Woo's in
fan
Apple
right here.
commercials now. Did you know that?
No, is he really?
Yeah, he's in an Apple commercial.
Okay, well maybe he got his $1 million there because he completely blew his chance in Survivor.
Spoilers,
Because he
dude.
completely
I know.
blew it.
Yeah, it was like so Kelly Wigglesworth and Spencer Bledsoe and Keith Nail and Stephen Fishback. I think you probably watched it. Anyway, let's talk about Survivor Pearl Island some more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I also made the note in this tribal council that we need subtitles for Dara 100% of the time. I have the hardest time understanding what she's saying.
We absolutely need subtitles.
I watched all my television with subtitles, so I've always understood her.
So you can tell her. You can
Man.
tell us what she says.
Everything, word for word.
I can't do that. I hurt for you that you do that.
I love subtitles. They're the best.
It just distracts me from the actual image.
You got to learn to read quicker.
In this case, for Dara, it's probably helpful.
Yeah.
So, what was your expectation heading into this next episode? Do any of these players who are going to be voted back in have any chance of doing anything the rest of the way?
Depends on who gets in.
So, who would you think would have a shot of doing something?
I think Burton does if he gets in.
Okay.
He's a physical enough player that I think he could win an immunity challenge and get on to the next. He could make some moves.
So, one thing we didn't mention yet is that the returning player, or not returning players that get voted back in get automatic immunity for this next one,
Oh, right.
which is good. I think a good call, because otherwise it's just so easy to vote one of them out. Gives them a little bit of
Completely.
life.
I think it makes sense if you don't merge the tribes. I'm
Yeah.
not sure it makes sense if you do merge the tribes. So, like,
That's
my
fair.
impression going into this next episode is that we're not going to get a tribe merge until the one after this one.
Yep.
I think I agree with Scott. I think Burton's got a shot at it if he can get to the merge. Just because he's a physical player, like he's got a shot to win some immunities. He's basically starting fresh in like relationships with people. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's got a shot. I don't feel like Michelle has the social game to play with everybody that's left.
Revenge, baby.
Yeah, that was,
It's all about the revenge.
sounds like she's
That was so
12.
forced. Yeah.
I don't think Lil can do anything. Or Skinny Ryan. Who's left? Nicole?
We talked about
Die
Trish.
jokes.
We talked about Trish. She's a pretty good
Trish.
player.
Yeah, I think Trish could make moves if she gets in and gets to the merge again. Like that's the big thing is if she can get to the merge and is playing a new social game with everybody, I think she's got a shot. I think Nicole has a shot too, but we never really got to see her play, so you know.
That's
No.
my thing is she's such a blank slate. I don't know if that would
Yep.
be a benefit or if that would just not help at all.
Right.
Yeah.
The most important thing we know about Nicole is that she wasn't wearing anything under her dress.
Oh, she's the one. Thanks, robot Jeff.
Oh, Jeff.
Maybe she voted herself off after that comment.
I would say they could have given her a bra when she came back into the game. It's so mean.
No, she
That's
just got
what
the
buff's
diet
for,
of,
you know?
of rice and protein.
Nothing about bras.
Yeah.
So let's look at our fantasy survivor standings here. After the 7th episode, Adam maintains his lead, the Lancaster tribe. We'll go through player by player here and see what happens. So, Emily, your tribe, Bart tribe, you got a point out of Andrew and a point out of John. Both. So I'm counting the votes as votes for Morgan.
Yeah, I think
because
you should.
they effectively voted.
Yeah, I think
right. It wasn't if Austin at the tribe got medevaced or quit, I wouldn't have counted them. But they went to tribal. It was a non-official vote, but a vote that nonetheless. So I'll count them. So you get a point out of Andrew and a point out of John, both of whom voted correctly and stayed in the game. 0 points from Austin because he did not vote correctly or stay in the game.
Technically, Austin did vote correctly.
Seeing as though the rules for Survivor are you can't vote for yourself.
Fair enough.
I'm going to say he didn't. An astute point, though.
I wonder who he would have voted for.
Yeah. It's a good question.
Wouldn't really
Probably
matter.
Dara. Who knows? It will forever remain a mystery. One of the big Survivor mysteries. Scott, so Emily, that leaves you with 11 points altogether.
Great.
Scott, you got a point out of Kristen and out of Rhino for voting correctly and surviving, and 0 points out of Sean for voting incorrectly and getting voted out. And you are also at 11 points.
All right.
And Adam, the Lancaster tribe, you got a point out of Rupert, Sandra, and T. Each voted correctly and survived, and you're at 13.5 points, so you're up by a cool 2.5 points.
He is dancing right now.
But be warned, with the merge likely coming soon, the potential to get points really swings because you get 2 points per individual immunity.
Yeah, plus I know Trish isn't, like, I can't imagine Trish comes back into this game. I feel like Burton's going to come back in, which will help Scott. And
yeah, some people may be reclaiming a player here.
Michelle has a shot coming back in.
So the points may increase, and it's anyone's game still.
We've only just begun.
Guys, this is really when the season gets good.
This is where
Once,
this is honestly, like, this season has gone from I don't understand why this is so highly rated to this is pretty great, actually.
Yeah, I'm more invested now for sure.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Every season, man, gets so much better when the merge hits. It's like this is when the game really, really kicks up. You get a lot of kind of like ticky-tack stuff pre-merge, but now it's for real. And so is Outwatch. It's for real. Because it's so real, you ought to subscribe to us on iTunes and Spotify. And you should follow us on Twitter at Outwatch Podcast. Hey, you should let us know, too. Add us on Twitter. First of all, if you make a Skinny Ryan meme, we'd love to see it. And let us know your thoughts on this episode. We'd love to hear from you. Until then, next week on Outwatch, we'll take on part 2 of this episode where the stuff really hits the fan. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
I think our outro music should be Justin Timberlake. Hey, he's gonna say it's fake. So real.